While the author of a new book on the Trump presidency is getting plenty of applause from conservatives, he's getting death threats from liberals. Presidential historian Doug Weed has written the book Inside Trump's White House, the real story of his presidency.
Now, Weed says what you hear from the media is not what he experienced when he was given access. David Brody spoke with the author today about his talker of a book.
Well, it is a book that has generated a lot of conversation, including a presidential seal tweet of approval, if you will. And Doug Weed joins us now. Doug, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Good to see you again.
Thanks, David. Good to see you, too.
Hey, so much to talk about in the book, but what surprised you as you were doing this venture? What did you kind of go in with a certain expectation, and what surprised you coming out of it?
You know, I went in, having worked in the White House, I went in suspecting that a lot more was calculated than it appears. And after I came out, I'm convinced a whole lot more is calculated than I thought. As Sun Tzu once said many years ago, out of chaos comes opportunity, and there's a method to the madness. It was very fascinating.
When you say calculated, what do you mean? Because some critics will say calculated, and that's not a good thing. You suggest otherwise, though.
Well, like NATO is a good example because he's meeting with NATO, and he blew it up, and the media was going crazy. Oh, this is our oldest ally. This is terrible. These are our closest friends, and the Pentagon sent generals in to sit with him to lecture him. These are our friends, sir. And he debated them. Well, if they're our friends, why are they breaking their word? And why is our middle class paying for high-speed railways in Germany and airports in France while they're descending into poverty? But they're our friends, sir. So he blew NATO up. It was just chaos. He rebuilt it. They raised $100 billion. It's stronger than it's ever been. The head of NATO is absolutely thrilled, and that's an example of how Donald Trump operates.
Doug, you paint a picture, a more flattering picture of inside the Trump White House than a Bob Woodward did in his book. How do you square the two, or do they square at all? It seems like we've got two different kind of vantage points here.
You know, I had a list of stories, David. I went down the list. Did this happen? No. Did this happen? No. I went to the sources that were in the room that were cited to be in the room. They said never happened. So, and I soon found out that the real stories are far more interesting than the fake stories. So why would a historian want to waste their time writing anonymous stories and stories that have no historical foundation? It's beyond me.
Doug, we live in a toxic world. Talk a little bit about what you have received on the end of having certain threats apparently against you, some family members. Can you clear that up, explain that a little bit because of this book?
Yeah. Yes, we've had multiple death threats. They started coming as soon as the book was announced. They named our children. They had a lot of detail about my life and our children's life to make it kind of scary. And then death threats from other IP addresses and other sources. And some people don't want the book published. A lot of people are making a lot of money the way things are right now. There are these big monopolies, as you know, and then they pass stimulus bills that exempt these big companies from the regulations that they get passed, and they're multinational, and they're linked to China. So they don't like this president. He's overthrowing the tables and breaking the dishes, and they like things the way they are. And he's restoring the economy and restoring free markets, so they don't like it.
Doug, you are a presidential historian. There's a recent poll out. Over 50%, 53% of Republicans believe that Donald Trump is a better president than Abraham Lincoln, is what they're saying. Where might Donald Trump potentially rank in history as we move forward? Of course, he could be an impeached president as well.
Yeah, you know, there's 120 plus criteria they use to rank presidents, but the big four are war and peace, the economy, which is the biggest really, communications, intelligence. When you look at communications, he's transformational with the use of social media. We're never going to go back from that. Intelligence, he saw what the greatest economists in the world did not see, unanimously did not see. When it comes to war, he's the first president in 40 years not to have invaded someone. We always invade someone. And when it comes to the economy, he's just unrivaled. It's everything Hubert Humphrey and LBJ and all the social engineers ever wanted for the poorest of the poor. It's coming true under Donald Trump.
Doug Weed, congratulations. Good luck with the book, and it was great to catch up again, sir.
Thank you, David. Good to see you.
Thanks, Doug.